There are moments in sports that don't need a final buzzer to prove they matter. They don't need a championship trophy or perfectly edited highlight reel to justify their place in the conversation. Sometimes, they unfold quietly, away from the spotlight, in the tunnel, along the edge of the court, far from the cameras that usually follow Caitlin Clark everywhere she goes. A child standing at the barrier, holding a handwritten sign with hope written all over it, a pair of sneakers still warm from the game, and in less than 30 seconds, a moment is created that will last an entire lifetime. That's exactly what happened after Clark walked off the court following the Indiana Fever preseason game against the New York Liberty at Barclays Center on April 25, 2026. And ever since then, the internet hasn't stopped replaying it, sharing it, reposting it, and watching it over and over again. If you haven't seen it yet, you're about to understand why this story matters far beyond the shoes, because at its core, this isn't really about sneakers. It's about character, and those are the stories that never fade.
What happened after Caitlin Clark walked off the court following the Indiana Fever's preseason game against the New York Liberty at Barclays Center on April 25th, 2026. And that is exactly what the internet has been talking about, sharing, reposting, and watching on a loop ever since. If you have not seen it yet, you are about to understand why this story matters far beyond the shoes. Because this is not really a shoe story. It is a character story, and those are the stories that never get old.
So let's break down exactly what happened, because this moment deserves to be told clearly before we unpack everything around it. After the final buzzer of that preseason matchup, Caitlin Clark didn't follow the usual routine you'd expect from a player of her level. She didn't make a direct path to the locker room. She didn't disappear into a tunnel surrounded by staff and security clearing the way. Instead, she slowed her pace. She turned toward the edge of the court where the fans were gathered, where the energy still lingered after the game, and she stopped right there.
Made her return, and boy, the people were happy. The people were happy. The takeover in Caitlin Clark getting Jay-Z treatment in Brooklyn, New York. Hove, H to the O-V, we here to CCC. Caitlin Clark absolutely took over Brooklyn.
And then, without hesitation, she sat down at the side of the court. She pulled off her game-worn Nike Kobe PE sneakers, grabbed a marker, signed them right there on the spot, and placed them directly into the hands of a young fan who had been standing at the barrier holding a homemade sign, eyes wide, completely unprepared for what was about to happen. The reaction from that child was everything. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't rehearsed. It was pure, overwhelming joy, the kind that only comes from a moment you never saw coming. A kid walked into that arena just hoping to watch a basketball game, and walked out with the greatest story they'll ever tell. And within hours, that video spread across social media like wildfire, and it spread that fast for a reason.
Sneakers are going to make you over $100 in profit. Just wait until I show you the exact stock numbers. And these drop in just a few hours at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Nike Sneakers app, so lock in. And this won't be the first time this happened. Caitlin Clark Kobe's in the past have already resold for a lot. And that's $300 to $400. And this colorway is even better than the prior Kobe 5, so check this out. These are the Kobe 5 Protro Caitlin Clark Rookie of the Year, and they drop tomorrow, April 15th for $190. But considering the demand on Caitlin Clark Kobe's, these are going to resell for much more than that. The stock on Nike US is only 14,000 pairs. That's not too limited for a Kobe, but it's just limited enough for a Caitlin Clark Kobe to resell and make you...
Because here's the part most people missed when they first saw that clip circulating online. Those weren't just any sneakers. They weren't a standard retail pair you could walk into a store and buy. Those were player-exclusive editions, Nike Kobe 5 Protro pairs, made specifically for Caitlin Clark, worn in real WNBA competition by one of the most commercially significant players in women's basketball today. The retail versions of her Kobe colorways originally dropped at $190 and are already reselling for anywhere between $375 and $435 depending on size and colorway. But the actual game-worn pairs, the ones taken directly off her feet after a full game, exist in an entirely different category. Collectors and memorabilia experts have valued those at well over $50,000. $50,000. And she handed them to a kid at the barrier like it was nothing extraordinary, because to her, in that moment, it wasn't. And what takes this from a viral clip to something much bigger is the fact that this isn't new behavior. This isn't a one-time gesture or perfectly timed PR moment. This is a pattern. This is who she is. Go all the way back to December 2023, before the WNBA draft, before the massive deals, before the spotlight reached its current level. At Carver Hawkeye Arena, after a college game, Clark did the exact same thing, taking off her shoes and handing them directly to a young fan named Nora. Her father later told reporters, "She made a little girl's year." Then she did it again in July 2024 after a win over the Minnesota Lynx. And again in Atlanta in 2025 after beating the Dream. 3 different moments. 3 different cities. Same instinct. Same generosity. Not something planned, something genuine.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
That Atlanta moment is especially important, because it made this behavior impossible to ignore. In May 2025, after an 81-76 win over the Dream, Clark spotted a young girl near the tunnel holding a sign that read, "CC, could I have your jersey, please?" She smiled. She didn't rush past. She didn't ignore it. She looked directly at the child and said simply, "I need my jersey." Then she walked away, leaving behind something just as meaningful. Footwear worth thousands, handed off without hesitation. To her, it wasn't a big deal. It was normal. And that's the difference. Celebrities manage moments. Superstars live their values, and the moments that come from that are what people remember. Now think about the fans on the other side of that barrier. The people who showed up to Barclays Center for a preseason game in April weren't there by accident. They came because of her. Jerseys with her name. Signs with her number. Entire sections filled with an energy you usually only feel in playoff games, not preseason exhibitions. That matters. That's the Caitlin Clark effect, not as a talking point, but as something real. They showed up early. They stayed late. And when the final buzzer sounded, they leaned forward toward the court, because they've learned something about her. She doesn't just leave. She stops. And once again, she gave them exactly what they came for, and more.
A ton of nerves, just like get out there, run around. You know, it's going to be probably a little sloppy here and there for both teams. That's kind of what preseason games are about. You give everybody some run, you figure out what lineups work, what don't, and everybody's just trying to get their footing again, and the same goes for me too. So I think obviously can rely on the USA basketball stuff that I did and that experience of getting back out there and, you know, my body feeling good, and bring that into today for sure.
How much do you expect to play today? Can you talk to something about that?
Yeah, like 20-25 minutes is probably what you're going to see. Not like a minute restriction or anything like that. Just, you know, wanting to see some other lineups of people that are, you know, trying to make the team and giving them opportunities as well. So that's still a good amount of minutes.
And beyond that moment, there's the basketball side of this story too. Clark came into this preseason after more than 9 months away from WNBA competition. A difficult 2025 season ended early due to injury, followed by months of recovery, rebuilding, and preparation. So when she stepped into media availability before facing the Liberty, every question focused on the same thing. What version of Caitlin Clark are we about to see? Her answers were calm, grounded, and consistent. She talked about rhythm, about finding her natural feel again, about trusting the work she had put in behind closed doors. There was no forced confidence. No hesitation. Just quiet readiness.
In her return, she had 7 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds for Caitlin Clark in her return to action, okay? So this was a big return for Caitlin Clark.
Because what those fans were waiting to see wasn't just her return, it was her game. That unique combination of skill, vision, and instinct that makes her different from everyone else. The deep pull-up threes. The plays defenders can't prepare for. That's what they came for. And in her minutes against the Liberty, the signs were clear. The rust was minimal. The instincts were sharp. The movement looked natural. She looked like herself, the same player who took over the sport in 2024. And if that version is already back, the 2026 season is about to be something special.
Well, this ain't a surprise to me, but now that the playoffs have started, we are getting the information for the regular season. The top 10 most shoes by minutes played, sorted by colorways in the NBA regular season, is here. You can take a look at it. But Caitlin Clark being number one is not surprising whatsoever. Even though this colorway came out halfway through the season, that's the best Nike Kobe 6 colorway to drop this NBA season. It is, bro. It's fucking magnificent. This Kobe 6 colorway is so good I need to be a pair. It's that good. You feel me? There's no other colorway that you can say. Don't say nothing else. Don't say Dodgers. Don't say Sale. Don't say nothing like that. You know this is the best one.
Now zoom out, because this story connects to something bigger. Clark signed a $28 million deal with Nike as the #1 overall pick in 2024. Since then, her Kobe PE sneakers have become some of the most culturally important shoes in basketball, not just in the WNBA, but across the entire sport. That's not just success, that's a shift. That's women's sports breaking into spaces people once thought were unreachable. And yet, despite all of that, she's still the same person sitting courtside after a game, handing those same high-value sneakers to a kid. That contrast is exactly why this moment resonates so deeply.
Okay, she got us a gift. For Caitlin's birthday, she got us a gift. Oh my god! Look at these! I really like the thick shoelaces. Oh my, they're really cool. I really like the color green. They're so cool. It's gonna bring out my eyes. I love you. These are awesome. I'm gonna have to pop out in these.
Because when you strip everything else away, this is what greatness really looks like. It's not a press conference. It's not a perfectly staged social media post. It's a real moment between a player and a fan. A kid leaving with something priceless, not because of money, but because of meaning. A superstar at the peak of her influence choosing to stop, to connect, and to give. And that's why this story isn't fading. At Barclays Center that day, Caitlin Clark gave fans everything. They got the game, the return, and then something even bigger. One pair of shoes. One young fan. One memory that will last forever. That's Caitlin Clark. And this is exactly why her story is just getting started.